Hey, aloha. It is Super Bowl weekend, and we are back with a extra special edition of Coffee with the Coach. I'm going to tell you something. We got something for you tonight that has never been done, and we think it is the future of what's happening in podcasts. We always said that we're going to be the most fan interactive podcast going, and that's really the case. Tonight, it is the Lockdown Knockdown. Yep, that's what we're calling it. The Lockdown Knockdown, brought to you by Hickory's Barbecue. For the best Southern barbecue in the United Kingdom, you got to go to Hickory's. Get with the Hickory's Super Bowl box or the NFL Wing beer box for the game tomorrow. I think you can still get them. Go to that website right there. And, man, this is some great barbecue, and I know you will enjoy it. It is, as we say in Hawaii, broke them out. All right. So let's get to it. I'd like to bring on a couple guys. We have Brad, who represents the Kansas City Chiefs fans around the UK, Arrowheads abroad. He is the Brit. If you want to follow him on Twitter, it's at Brit Chief UK. And we have for the Bucs, Kieron from Bucs UK, and that's at Bucs UK. They're going to talk on behalf of their teams, their fan bases, and we're going to go into the game. So let's bring those guys in. Can we, Michael?
Hi,
Welcome, men. It's great to have you with us. It's almost game time. Are you feeling it?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I'm a bit more relaxed this time.
Now I understand, Brad. You had like a crazy trip last year when they were in the Super Bowl, correct?
Oh yeah, it's. I mean, if anybody follows me on social media, you've heard it all a million times. But we there's a group of us from Arrowheads Abroad actually flew out to Miami, and we didn't have a ticket or anything. We just flew out just to soak up the Super Bowl atmosphere, because obviously the Chiefs hadn't been there for so long, and two of us ended up winning tickets, which was a mind-blowing experience, unreal.
Hey, now, just kind of sit back in your chair. So let's get a little bit of that Kelsey jersey you got working there.
Oh, this one.
Yeah. And you got the Kelsey haircut, and now you got it tomorrow. Tomorrow, for good luck, you better shave into a goatee to go 100% Travis Kelsey tomorrow.
Yeah. But believe it or not, I actually spoke to him. I actually interviewed him on the podiums just recently. I think it was only a couple of days ago. So yeah, I've got my Kelsey on this time. He's going to be the guy this time for sure.
That's awesome. All right, Kieron. Now, before we get started, I want to ask you about your background now. How long you been with Bucs UK, and how did you become a Bucs fan?
So Bucs UK has been going since 1984. We're the oldest running fan club in the UK for the NFL. I only predate to 1989. I know I don't look it. I did what everyone else did. I went to Disney, and while we were there, we headed down to Busch Gardens, and I thought, why don't we see a bit of sport while we're here? And I saw a preseason game. It was against the Finns, and I said I'd support the winner. And it's the only game they'd won for about a decade.
Okay, now I am well known as a Raider fan and a Leeds United fan, right? And a couple reasons why I love those two clubs is, 30 Leeds and the Raiders, you can understand that one. But I also think they have the best uniforms going. Only topped by the original creamsicle Tampa Bay uniforms. And I tell you what, if they would break those out tomorrow, I guarantee you that's a 10-point swing in their advantage. I guarantee you.
Well, unfortunately, because of the helmet rule, they couldn't bring the throwbacks back because you had to keep the same lid throughout the year. But do you know what? We're all about the pewter now. The pewter third uniform, the fans love it.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. Those creamsicle uniforms back in the day, right, were really, really special. All right. Now, so the fans understand what we're doing here. This is, we call it the Lockdown Knockdown, and it's a chance for you guys as the leaders and representatives of two of the really most passionate fan bases out there to talk about the game. I mean, we break it down, NFL Network breaks it down, everybody breaks it down, but it's really what's important is what the fans say, and what you guys represent are two great fan bases. And we also want to use this as a way that if you're a Chiefs fan and you're listening, Brad, that you can say, hey man, we always can use an extra member. Same thing with you, Kieron. So we're going to start the show with we're going to take it on a little Perry Mason theme. You guys probably don't even know who that is, but that was a legendary, I guess, a court show back in the day in the United States. And Perry Mason was this great lawyer. So we're going to have opening arguments on the case of who will be the Super Bowl champion tomorrow. I guess it would be about this time, Tampa time, probably. So we're going to start with you, Brad. You have 2 minutes. You're on the clock. Now let me hear what Chiefs Nation has to say.
Why we're going to win this Super Bowl. The Chiefs have obviously been the kind of Cinderella story for the past 50 years. We finally got that ring on our finger, and man, we've got the taste for more. We want more, and we've got the greatest quarterback in the league at the moment as well in Patrick Mahomes. We've also got probably the best tight end in the game at the moment as well in Travis Kelce. We've got Tyreek Hill. We've got the need for speed in there. We've got the Legion of Zoom. We've got everything is piled on for this Chiefs team as to be one of the greats of the game. It's going to be this team. If you're not part of it now, you need to be. You really need to be part of this team because this is going to be one of those dynasty teams. I know we said it after one ring, but we're here again, back to back. If we win this time, the show's going to go on, and that's what we believe in Arrowheads Abroad. We've been, like I said, we've been the whipping boys for quite a long time, number of years, and like I said, we've got a whiff of success there, and we just want it to continue. So get on board with this team. Get on board with the Chiefs. We have the best fan base in the world. We have the loudest stadium in the NFL as well, and that's actually a Guinness record. So the fan base is fantastic. If you ever go to Arrowhead to go and see a game, you will never go without beer, food, or friendship. That's what you get. And then once you leave that, I guarantee you'll have tears when you get on the plane flying back home, because that's exactly what I had when I came back from there in 2017. The tears I had on the plane on the way back because I felt I was leaving family members behind. So get on board with this team and just, like I said, just really just ride with it. If you've been a Chiefs fan for a lot of years, you understand it. You just get this team 100%. And like I said, we've got some of the best stars in the game so far. You know, we've already mentioned the offensive side, but the defensive side, we've got the honey badger. We've got a honey badger. We've got a shark in Frank Clark. We've got Chris Jones. We've got all of these amazing stars on both sides of the ball. You cannot take your eyes off this team for 1 second. They are just amazing.
All right. There's your 2 minutes. All right, we say you got 2 minutes. You can't go over your time now. All right. So now I'm going to throw it to Kieron. Kieron, you got 2 minutes to talk about your Bucs, opening arguments about why you think the Bucs will be Super Bowl champs.
Objection, Your Honor. This is destiny. This is the first team to play in the Super Bowl at home. And, the league are doing everything they can to make it not a home game. Those cannons won't be firing during the game, but they will be firing after the final whistle goes. This is destiny. This is the GOAT. Mahomes, he's all right. He's the kid. This is the GOAT. This is the greatest player of all time. He's got more rings than he's got fingers. This is crazy. And this is no preseason. This is a new offensive coordinator. This is a new playbook, and this has been a record-breaking year. The Bucs have never scored as many points. They've never scored as many points kicking. We've got a kicker that can kick now, no matter which end zone and which game. This is fantastic. This D, it swarms, it tackles. It can go to sleeping coverage, but it won't do tomorrow. And it's going to play tight, and it's going to be amazing. And in the middle of the season, when the Bucs were still struggling to get some momentum, the score when we played the Chiefs was 27-24. One play not to Hill, and actually the Bucs win that game, and they weren't in full stride. This is the most talented team the Bucs have ever had. But more than individuals, they've come together and they've gelled. The leadership from Brady, the confidence from the coaches, the diversity of the coaches that relate to the players. This is just a machine that is humming and revving, and it's going to ride over Raymond James tomorrow.
All right, fellas, that's our opening arguments tonight. So get in on Twitter. Join us tonight. Let us know where you're calling from or where you're coming in from as we go through the game now, the work to the game. I want to start where it really all begins, and a lot of people say this is where the game will be won, and that's in the offensive lines. And we'll start now with Tampa Bay. You got Donovan Smith at left tackle, Ali Marpet at left guard, Ryan Jensen, who is an absolute beast at center, Aaron Stinney, who stepped in real well last week, and in the young first-round draft choice out of the University of Iowa, Tristan Wirfs. Go ahead, Kieron. Sell me this defensive line.
Well, I remember back to the good old days of the London Monarchs when we had the nasty boys as the offensive line. And you've said with Ryan Jensen, these guys are nasty. Now, Aaron Stinney's had some big shoes to fill. He's come in partway through the season. But Tristan Wirfs, he's been protecting Brady all year long. He's a rookie. He's gone up against some classic names. And how that guy has not made Rookie of the Year conversations or the Pro Bowl. These guys are playing with a chip on their shoulder because they feel under-respected. I think it's fair to say they're better in the pass blocking than they are in the run blocking, but the team's shown a commitment to the run, and they've had the ability to do that because that line has made gaps when it needed to. All right.
Now you have 1 minute, excuse me, Chiefs, and you're on the clock. We're talking about left tackle Mike Remmers, who's stepping in for Eric Fisher, former first-round draft choice, Nick Allegretti, Austin Ryder, Steve Wisniewski, and Andrew Wiley stepping in at right tackle. So you gotta convince me now how you are going to block with two backup offensive tackles in this game, Brad. You got a minute.
Well, all I can say is that this Chiefs O-line has already done it already in the Super Bowl anyway. I know that some of them hadn't been playing, but we've got some good depth in there. Remmers is he's kind of like the Swiss Army knife in that offensive line. We can plug him in anywhere and he'll do a good job. Right, there's another one. Wisniewski, we got him back again because he helped with the Super Bowl run last year. I'm confident. I'm fine with this O-line. I don't find it a problem. And plus, if the Bucs pass rush does manage to get past that decent line, let's say, we've got one of the all-time great quarterbacks who can just he can just change it on a whim, can't he? If the play breaks down, he's got his legs to be mobile. He can get out of the pocket, no problem. He can make something out of nothing. And like I said, I'm not particularly bothered about this O-line. I know a lot of people talking about it as though it's going to be a bit of a weakness. In fact, I hope the Bucs are really concentrating on that O-line so they forget about the coverage.
All right. Kieron, you're up. Let's talk about the Bucs offensive line.
I think I've just done that.
Okay. All right. Sorry. My bad. Before we go on, all right, I want the fans to weigh in. And if you like the Bucs line, hit us with a Bucs comment on Twitter. If you like the Chiefs line, hit us with a Chiefs comment on Twitter. All right, moving on now. Let's go to the tight end position because we got some great tight ends in the game. And we'll start now because we started with the Bucs on the offensive line. We'll start with the Chiefs. Brad, I want you to talk about what your man Travis Kelce is going to mean in this game, and then back up Nick Keizer, who nobody ever talks about, but has a distinctive role in the Chiefs offense.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about Travis Kelce. He's not, he's not he's not better than Kittle because he can't block, but I mean that's ridiculous because I see him all the time blocking. But Kelce's strong point is obviously his receiving threat, and he's broken so many ankles this year. He's one of those veteran players that Mahomes always looks to, and when you've got the likes of Sammy Watkins and Tyreek Hill taking a lot of the concentration of opposing defenses, it opens up the field for Kelce so well. I mean, we saw it against the Bills. Kelce got a touchdown and there's nobody around him from the Bills. He finds areas that nobody else can. He manages to just turn on a dime and just find ways to get open. And he has that telekinetic thing with Mahomes as well, where Mahomes will throw the pass to him before even Kelce's turned his head. And Kelce will make sure he's caught it. So, He's one of the greats. He's had a record-breaking season, one of the most outstanding tight ends that, Kansas City's had. And, we've had Tony Gonzalez, one of the greats as well, Hall of Famer. And Kelsey's up there. He's definitely up there as one of the best.
All right. Now, Brad, you got to be careful because we might dock your points if you go over a minute again. All right.
Sorry.
All right. So, again, now, Kieron, on your side of the football, you've got a couple of weapons, all right? So let's talk about the tight end depth and what their role is going to be in this game.
Well, I mean, Brad's right. He talked about this sort of telepathic connection that quarterbacks and tight ends can have together, and that's your safety valve. And if you want a telepathic connection, Gronk and Brady, they've been doing it since, junior high. They're on the same page. They're going to fight. And if Gronk's busy, it means he's staying into block. It's not because he was being covered. He's deceptively fast. He looks like he's galloping down like a gazelle, but actually he's got some speed on him and he can get the edge. But you're right. If he's covered, then Cam Brate, the clever man, he grabs the ball. He's not quick, but he's wily. He just gets open. And don't rule out Tanner Hudson either. When we're coming in that jumbo package with 3 tight ends set, Tanner Hudson is someone that's not to be underestimated either.
All right. Now, fans, it's time for you to vote on who has the best tight end group in the game. Kieron's Bucs or Brad's Chiefs. Hit us on Twitter. And again, Magic Mike is back there with his calculator, and he is tabbing up the point totals. All right, let's go to running backs. Really an interesting one here, the running back situation. For Kansas City, Clyde Edwards-Helaire probably going to be the feature back in this game. Darrell Williams obviously is going to have a role. I don't know who we'll see tomorrow who they dress, but I know that those two guys are going to play a significant role for Kansas City. Brad, sell me on those two young running backs.
Well, I mean, the Chiefs seem to find a way of getting a good running back, and they come literally from out of nowhere. We've got obviously Darrell Williams, who had a strong game against the Bills. We've got Le'Veon Bell as well, which. He's kind of waiting in the wings, ready for the big game, and this might be one of those big games for him where nobody's really talked about him much, but he could be one of those like a feature back that we use. I don't know, near the goal line, maybe something. We've also got Clyde Edwards-Helaire. We all saw what he could do at the beginning of the season, obviously before he got injured. But we've got these players that they're quick, but also quite big lads as well. We've also got a little tiny one as well in Darwin Thompson. I don't know if he'll actually be suiting up, but he had flashes in the game against the Chargers, which he looked very good. And we've just got a good stable of quarterbacks. They might not be the big stars or what everyone's talking about all the time, but we've got a good collective group there that we can actually mix and match. And we've also got the sausage as well in there.
All right, Kieron, sell me on those Tampa Bay backs, especially playoff Lenny and Ronald Jones.
Playoff Lenny and Rojo. We've been screaming "Go Rojo" throughout the playoffs that season. So remember, Rojo's the starter nominally. He's taken it 98 yards on a play before. He's got the legs, and he gets underestimated. Again, there's not a lot of respect for our running backs because that's not what the offense is about at the moment. It's about running to keep the defense honest. But, Rojo, Leonard Fournette, playoff Lenny, and LaShawn McCoy. This is fantasy football. Any of these players will be starting anywhere else. But that's the stable of backs we've got. Coach Arians will ride the hot hand and they'll pound it out. The important thing for this game, the big key, is that every time we do that, we need to be getting 3 yards. There's been too many times during the year where we've only gone for 2, and that makes it a problem on longer down situations.
All right, let's talk receivers. All right, for the Bucs, you've got Mike Evans, you got Antonio Brown. I believe he's going to play. Again, awesome player in Chris Godwin. We talk about Mike Evans, a bunch, Scotty Miller, who exploded last week. Again, talk about why your receivers in Tampa Bay are better than the Legion of Zoom.
So again, this is fantasy football territory, and again, all year long, we've just come to the peak now because Mike Evans has been bashed up. Chris Godwin's had his hands taped together. Scotty Miller had a strain as well. But Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and the Gronk. You can't cover them all. You can't double anyone because someone else is going to be open. And you didn't mention Tyler Johnson. He's had some really good spots where he's come in, and the catch he made earlier in the playoffs, it was like sort of go gadget arms. It didn't look like a human being could have made that catch.
The one against New Orleans.
Yeah, absolutely, that's right. The depth's amazing. But I think Scotty Miller. Anyone that's watched the last 2 games has been talking about Scotty Miller. But I think for me, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. They are bread and butter. They're speedy. They're wily. They're veterans. They know what they're doing, and they will beat you.
You know what? Before we did the Bucs against the Packers game, I illustrated the Bucs deep ball thing, and I singled out the last one. It was Scotty Miller, and I said, "Do not sleep on Scotty Miller." And it's too bad Kevin King didn't watch our show pregame, or it might have saved him a lot of embarrassment on national TV. All right, let's switch over to the other side. They are fast. In fact, real fast. They're called the Legion of Zoom.
Yeah, Legion of Zoom. Speaks for itself, really. Tyreek Hill, one of the fastest in the game, probably the fastest in the game. Never heard of this other guy that you keep mentioning, Scotty Miller or someone. Never heard of him before until recently, really.
You'll find out tomorrow.
We've obviously got Sammy Watkins, another top class first round talent as well, who his route running is second to none, really. When he's available, he's the guy that really helps out this offense, and it sounds like he might be available for this game. We've also got Nicole Hardman, who's nearly as fast as Tyreek Hill. We've got DeMarcus Robinson, who is he's the kind of king of kind of making things up, let's say, when he's going. If the play breaks down, Mahomes is always looking for DeMarcus Robinson to make that play, that just to get him out of trouble. So we've got all that speed. We've got a cannon of an arm, so that's the only cannon that'll be firing at this stadium. So yeah, how do you even go up against all that speed from all areas of this field?
All right, well, let's find out, because we're going to now talk about the secondary, right? And you're talking about a secondary in Tampa Bay that has played really well in the playoffs. As a matter of fact, probably one of the bigger reasons why Tampa Bay is in this game. Rookie Antoine Winfield is a playmaker. Carlton Davis struggled last time these two teams played, but Jordan Whitehead, I think his shoulder's back, and he'll play in this game. Sean Murphy-Bunting has been a revelation in the playoffs. And then we'll talk about Ross Cockrell as the nickelback, because he'll be in the game a whole bunch. Go ahead, Kieron. Sell me on this bunch of DBs.
So I'm not going to be a homer with you. This is the one area where we're possibly a bit shaky. These guys are all individually supremely talented, and you can't talk about the secondary without focusing on the middle linebackers, David and White, because the way the coverage works, that's the underneath help that allows them to do what they do. But they're ball hawks, and they're going to take risks. And so long as we don't play the stupid prevent defense we go to in the third quarter, as long as we stick to that man-to-man and get the pressure, they will go, like for like, they will match up really, really well. But you're right, they've been blowing hot and cold throughout the year. But it's when the playoffs come, that's when it matters, and the curve's going up.
All right, now go ahead, fans. Tell us who you like. Make sure you give us the story. We got this bunch of DBs in Kansas City that have really strapped up a lot of good receivers in this league. Charvarius Ward, Brashad Breeland, rookie L'Jarius Sneed out of Louisiana Tech has had a tremendous playoffs. Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger. Daniel Sorensen, who's kind of a hybrid linebacker DB. And again, Rashad Fenton, who comes in nickel and dime situations. Brad, talk about your secondary.
Yeah, it's probably one of the best in the game at the minute, I think. It's clearly led by Tyrann Mathieu, and they mix it up so much. They make it really difficult, for opposing offenses. But you mentioned him before, L'Jarius Sneed has had one heck of a great season so far. And it's not just because of his secondary work. It's really kind of he gets dialed up a lot in the blitz. So he can actually get to the quarterback because he's actually got 4.3 speed. He's definitely the guy to watch, I think, in this game, because with a slow aging quarterback in Tom Brady, it's going to be difficult to get away from these fast kids. But it's one of those secondaries that it doesn't give up a lot. And once they're on it, and when you've got the Honey Badger back there doing his championship swagger, it's game over for the other team.
All right, let's talk to front seven. For Tampa, you've got Devin White, You've got a really, really good player in Levante David, Jason Pierre-Paul, Ndamukong Suh, Vita Vea, and again, Shaq Barrett coming off the other edge. Sell me some defensive line front seven play.
I mean, this is fantasy football again, isn't it? You've got linebacking core of JPP, Shaq, Levante, and Devon. It doesn't get any better than that. And only one made the playoffs. These guys have got a chip on their shoulder. They're going to be fast. They're going to be keen. JPP and Shaq, if we can get the Chiefs into those down and distance that are long, where they can pin their ears back, they are going to be coming. And the important thing is that, obviously, as you mentioned earlier, Brad, just spot on, is that Mahomes is mobile. So they need Shaq and JPP. They're going to have to play contain as well. We can't let him escape that pocket when it breaks down. And it will break down because you've got Ndamukong Suh and Vita Vea steamrolling up the middle. Vita Vea broke his leg this year and he's still playing. You will not stop him. Injury will not stop him. It's going to be amazing. This is going to be such a great game.
Let's talk about the Chiefs. Frank the Shark Clark coming off the edge, and maybe one of the most underrated and I think elite inside pass rushers in the game, Chris Jones. You got a no-name linebacker core in Kansas City. Is this a weakness in Kansas City?
Linebackers, we obviously look at the linebackers quite a bit in KC because it has been one of those kind of mix and match areas that we still need to improve on a bit. But I mean, you've got that D line. Like you said, you've got Chris Jones, Frank Clark. They're the ones that really kind of bring the pain. But you've got some great players like in Passanio. He's really kind of thrived under Spagnuolo's scheme. We've got trying to think who else we've got. I mean, obviously Anthony Hitchens is one of those that's been a bit more of a stalwart kind of player for us ever since coming over from the Cowboys. But I'm not. I mean, the Chiefs have struggled a little bit on getting the sacks this year. And there has been some fans getting on the back of Frank Clark saying he's not getting enough sacks. But when you look at his pressure stats, he's really getting there. And to have both of those, both Jones and Frank Clark, they really turn up for the playoffs as well. And we saw it last year. Frank Clark suddenly starts opening his mouth a lot more and getting more of that championship swagger that I mentioned earlier from Tyrann Mathieu. But they get dialed in. They believe it. They believe they're the best in the world, and they're going to bring it as best as they can.
All right, now, fellas, we've gone through the teams. I'm going to give you a one-word description or one-word sell, right? Because we could be here all night, but I want one word to describe your quarterback. And Kieron, we'll start with you with Tom Brady. One word.
I said at the beginning, I'm not going to say go.
One word.
Destiny.
All right. Destiny Brady. Brad.
Showtime
Mahomes. All right, that's it. Mike, get us some questions for these guys, and then we'll talk to the fans. What do you got coming at us here, Michael?
I have to come in here, man, just really quickly because I know Nick's going to come in a minute. There's so many Bucs comments, lads, like ridiculous amounts of Bucs comments. Will Brady be better? Yeah, there you go.
That's more than 400 members talking to you.
Will Brady be back for next year for Ring 8? That's what's coming to you, Kieron.
I really hope so. The fear wasn't it? Was if he wins this year, he might disappear off into the sunset. But he's already committed to next year because Gronk is going to be there too, and so we're looking for the repeat.
Man, I tell you what, Bucs UK is on fire here. All right, who shows up in the first 3 series wins tomorrow as a Dallas fan? I personally like to see KC win. That's from Fred Flunk. So you got a little Cowboy KC connection going. Give me one more KC. All right, for Brad and Kieron, both of you have interesting backdrops there. What's your best merch?
Probably that one up there. Oh, that one.
All right, Kieron, what you got?
Patrick Mahomes.
It's all great. We've got beanies, we've got flags, we've got T-shirts. Join up and go and help yourself.
Sell them all now, quick.
Hey, look at all the Bucs noise coming into this thing. I think the fans have spoken, Mike. I think it's the Bucs.
Just before we bring Nick in, though, these two boys have got their score predictions. So, Brad.
All right, so let's see their score predictions.
Well, here's Brad's, and Brad said this on our show the other night, and I still can't believe he's sticking to this. But
I'm sticking to that.
41-9. Woo!
And finally, really quickly, here we go.
Kieron says
Bucs UK.
48-20. Man, I'm telling you, we're talking about blowouts here.
Well, that was the score when the Bucs won Super Bowl 37. So I'm keeping with the tradition.
Fellas, I got to tell you, for you and all the fan bases and all your fans and everybody that's participated, this has been an awesome deal. I love it. I love it. I love it when the fans get involved. We're going to take a little break, and then we'll be right back, and we are going to talk to ex-Denver Bronco Pro Bowler and San Francisco 49er secondary coach Nick Ferguson here on Coffee with the Coach. Fellas, thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.